Hi, it's John. Why are some of us so scared of aliens, of galactic beings from around this universe? And what's been happening here in the past, in the present, and in the future in terms with our alien contact? Well, it's my job today to channel two different beings. Now, they're both my spirit guides, so I know them well and trust them well. One is from here on Earth, and another is from outside of Earth, a galactic brother or sister. And so I'm excited to get started and set up a safe space and then begin asking and answering your questions that you've been putting to me about our galactic brothers and sisters around the universe and their interaction with us here on Earth. So if you'd like to join me, please take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, nice and deep. And breathe out what no longer serves our highest good, nice and loud. Breathe in through the nose, nice and deep. And breathe out any stress, fear, anxiety, or shame, nice and loud. And breathe in through the nose, nice and deep. And breathe out any remaining low vibration energy or emotion or entities that do not serve our highest good, nice and loud. And allow yourself to relax. And join me at this time as I create a connection from my heart into the highest dimension of source of love above, back down to my heart and now down into the core Mother Earth, and all the way back up to my heart. And then I surround myself with a golden bubble of protective light. And I set the intention that only energies and entities with my permission, my highest good, love and compassion can see me, access me, or exist within this space or within me. And that all other energies and entities must leave us immediately. I invite in my guides, my higher self, my angels, Source and Gaia, for guidance, clearing, healing, protection, and self-love. And for all of you watching this, I create a golden bubble around you, those of you that choose to enter this safe space and watch this video. And I set the intention that only energies and entities with our permission, our highest good, love and compassion, can see us, access us, or exist within this space or within us. Okay. You can never be too safe, right? So it's a really beautiful practice to set up that really lovely protective bubble around myself and then around you also. And I offer these more detailed meditations on my website as free guided meditations. And there's a new one I've just posted today for practitioners, a 5-day challenge, which you can also check out. Okay, so I'd like to ask, first of all, my guides just to come forwards to me. And I'm asking the 8 of them, and they're from around Earth and also around the universe. So there's 8 of them and they're just coming forwards. And I just get this very clear message. They're saying like, we're here, John, we're here. And I have already meditated with them this morning and received some beautiful messages, which may come up in today's session also. And so I'd like to call forwards my guide from here on Earth. She's been on Earth for a very long time. And she also appeared in my last video. And her name is Maya. And she is an earth elemental angel spirit. And this means she is a sister of Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. And she's been here helping with the fertility of the planet. So I see her, she's showing me and this is news to me, by the way. She's been showing me that there's this. She's been doing work under the surface of the planet, under the crust, and then she brings this beautiful energy up from the lava, the magma, up into the surface of the planet, and she brings this beautiful green energy, and it's like she fertilizes the soil with nutrients coming up from the rocks and from the ground below, and she's helping nurture life. She's helping many at this time in their awakening journeys, and it's not just myself, although I'm someone that takes up a lot of her time and energy, but she's doing a lot of work across this planet. And I'd like to just ask her to come forwards again. For those of you that haven't seen her or met her, I just like if you can step forwards to me and show yourself again to me, please, so I can describe you clearly to my beautiful friends. And as she comes forward, she's showing me her hood up like this. And it's something she does quite often. I think she did in the last video as well. And she's just bringing she has her hood like this, and then she brings it down, and she's showing herself. She's quite tall, and she has a very light white gown on, so it has a hood. It's like a cloak, and then it's like draped around her chest, and then it reminds me of like a priestess outfit, where she has these kind of two stripes coming down either side of her chest and down her stomach, and there are two white pillars. And she's saying, although I can't see it, there's one down her back, and it's symbolic of Trinity. And Trinity is something that comes up in my parallel lives and past lives a lot. And also my three keys. You hear me talking about three keys a lot. So there's definitely this beautiful symbolism of the Trinity with my guide Maya. And I'm just looking down, like scanning down. She's very slim. She's like showing off her body and saying, you know, she does a lot of energetic and physical work, and this helps her like tone. So describe her as lean and a little bit muscular too. And then she has like bare feet. And she's saying that this is really important for her. She's saying this is my non-negotiable. Like she will never wear shoes. She's always barefoot. Okay. And Maya, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? She's saying that, like my soul origins, came from other planets, other stars, and she's been doing this work through many planets and star systems, where she helps cultivate life on the planet. And that's why she becomes so attached to working with the planet and the soul of the planet, is because she's very much the hands of, which she's saying the hands and heart of Gaia. And that's why she considers her a sister. And sometimes they refer to each other, Gaia and Maya, as being like two different incarnations of the same soul. However, it's not as simple as that. Because Maya and Gaia have the ability to do this soul merging. I've not really heard of this. I've never really ruled it out, but she's saying that sometimes they choose to go into unity together, and this blends their souls. And it is like this. It's like a weaving of souls together. Their energies become intertwined. And when souls do this, it has this dramatic effect on the past lives, the parallel, the present, the future. It really does merge the souls, or at least weave together significant parts of their journeys together. So it is an incredibly it's a huge thing for a soul to do. It's a big responsibility. It takes a lot of trust, and souls need to be, for it to succeed, this merging, or this temporarily integrated soul needs to be in a position where They are of the same vibration. They have the same capabilities. I'm hearing that they need to be able to cope with the lowest vibration of each other's, like past, parallel, present, futures, and versions of themselves, to the highest vibration. So there needs to be like a strong overlap in their frequency ranges, because if you bring in a low vibration past lifetime that's too low for the current version. So let's say Maya had a past life that was too low vibration, like it was very dark, and it was lower than one that Gaia has had. This won't get confusing, right? Then it would cause Gaia problems. Like it would disrupt and affect the present version of her. And I'm just asking, like, why would you do this? It seems such a huge risk to your souls. And Maya's saying, look, when you need to get stuff done, soul merging is extremely powerful and extremely effective. And she was just saying, wouldn't you do whatever it takes to save this universe, to save this planet and save this universe? And as we covered in the last video, Earth is at the very center of the ascension of the universe. And so it's getting a lot of attention from a lot of beings around the universe. And when things need to, when there's problems that need to be overcome, then souls, very powerful souls like Maya and Gaia coming together and merging, helps them massively accelerate and enhance their abilities. So I'm just asking, what is that? What does that look like? And Maya is saying, for example, if there's nutrients and compost and like food that needs to go into the crops, into the vegetation, into nature in an area where there's deep significance, and she's showing me that it's for like people like you and I, like where the crops need to be yielded with a high vibration. Maya and Gaia will work together, and effectively when Maya merges with Gaia, Maya gives Gaia these incredible gifts of being able to dramatically enhance the fertility of the planet. And the fertility is just a whole range of things. It's not just plants and crops. It's not just the fertility of the living things. It's like everything. It's the mountains, the rocks, the streams, the clouds, the birds, the insects. It's all life, and everything is living in a planet. Even in like deserts and areas that we wouldn't traditionally think of much life being there. And Maya's just bringing me back. She wanted to show us all this because soul merging is a new concept to me. I did not know it was really possible or why you choose to do it. And it feels like a whole video in itself. And Maya, I would love to learn more about this. And she's saying you shall. She says she's just saying it's really important for some of the later conversations that we're going to have, which is really beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so let's ask a bit more about this question. So today's intention, Maya, would like to learn about why many people have fear in terms of aliens, other beings from outside of this planet. And Maya's saying that this is very much like a programmed fear. And she's reminding me of, and hello to Mom if you're watching, when I was young, one of the first things I remember of seeing spiders is I remember a very brief period when I was not scared of spiders as a very young child. And then maybe like 5 or 6, I remember a spider. I was playing in my room, and then my mum was like opposite me, and the spider like runs in between us. And I said, Incy, Wincy, or something like that, spider, spider. And my mom freaked out and she like ran away. She's like, spider. And I remember saying, oh, but it's just a spider. Like, it's not scary. And she was saying, no, it is. Like, don't you find them like really creepy and crawly? And it was a trauma I chose to take on as a child, right? Like, I then chose to be, traumatized whenever I saw a spider. And we do this to each other, right? It's not just my mother, right? We do this to each other all the time when we feel some fear about something, and then we share that fear, and the fear grows. Fear can be amplified by sharing your fear with someone else, and like you're projecting, especially when you project that energy onto them. And this is what's been going on in our recent history, and it's really funny. I'm just being shown back. Like, I was asking like how long, and it's not long. It goes back to, so when you think of significant events like in our modern culture, like Roswell, in New Mexico, which was in the 40s. Then it was really interesting just to see, I'm seeing like in the last 60 years in particular, but it could also be longer, 80 to as much as 100 years. But it's not long when you think about the human race, or just, the existence of other living things on this planet, and the planet itself. It's a very brief period. And there's just a whole, like, so Maya is telling me like just these whole range of like human characteristics, that behaviors that are kind of deep rooted and associated with this fear as well. So fear of aliens also includes things like the fear of the unknown, fear of being very different, and fear of being invaded or dominated. And if you look back at our recent history over just the last few hundred years, and for sure in the last couple of thousand years, like, mankind has gone through this journey of traveling to other countries, and we would have been very alien to each other, right? Our Western cultures that we know well today, still do this to this day. It still happens around the world, where we visit, untouched civilizations, and it's a very alien experience for both sides. And there's also really interesting, patterns in our history of, trying to like initially get along through to exploitation, slavery, and disease, and like either intentional or accidental, or a blend of the two, destruction. And so it's not surprising that we're scared of other beings. And I'm just asking Maya as well, like, what about the specifics? Like, what about alien abductions, for example, because they seem more unique to the alien phenomena. And I'm just asking from her perspective. And Maya's saying that for some people, they experience an abduction that is absolutely intended to incite fear in the person, and that's quite terrifying, right? It's like using fear as a weapon against someone, and I'm seeing like this paralyzing fear, almost like if someone had like a fear ray and you could shoot it at someone, it would put them into this like ultra fear state, almost like their body wanted to just stop working, stop living, and their mind was like just intensely screaming. And this was not an answer I was expecting, Maya. But she said this is rare, and she said it used to be more common. Things have changed, and there's a lot of work that galactic councils do. So these are, and I'm going to keep using this word, aliens and galactic like interchangeably, or these words interchangeably. But these like galactic councils are like groups of either individual galactic races or federations of them coming together, that they have also been like outlawing this. So they've been detecting when these weapons are used against people and really clamping down on them. So policing Earth has been really helpful in preventing that. And then there's also just Mother Gaia, planet Earth. The vibration of the planet continues to rise, and that's really beautiful, really powerful. Okay, now we're 20 minutes in, and Maya is asking to channel through me for a few minutes, and I would like to just ask Maya for some answers to set the intention for the channeling, which is always a good idea. Always a good idea before you channel. So I have my safe space, check. Next, I need a clear intention, and then I can get clear answers. So let me just set the intention. Maya, from your perspective, I would love to see your experience of the galactic interactions with Earth and Earthlings, and what we can do to help address the fear that some of us experience, or perhaps all of us experience at some time. Just allowing Maya to step into me. And the answer to your question, it comes through in simplicity at first. Very, very simply, this universe is calling on you for unity. This universe is attempting to achieve unity. And in unity comes harmony, a balance, the right balance, the perfect range of harmony and balance, of low and high vibration frequencies, the dark and light, and the spectrum of everything in between. And allow your mind and your heart to open to this concept, this feeling that everything in the universe is really, truly one, that the universe itself is one home, and that we're all in this together, because it is true. We are all in this together, every single one of us. And allow at this time, as you open your heart, and I ask you to take a deep breath with me now. Take a deep breath in. And release any of the differences that do not serve our highest good across this universe. And breathe in simplicity and unity with love in our hearts. And breathe out any of the differences that we do not like about each other. And to explain the concept of unity further, it means that we continue to be unique. We continue to be diverse. We continue to grow in our own random, mysterious, and miraculous, unique ways. We're all individual, unique expressions of the source of love of this universe. And it is important through the unification process, through unity, that we all continue to expand, not contract, to expand in our uniqueness. And unity allows us all to be in unity of this purpose, for us all to be unique across this whole universe. And so now to reflect on the experience of myself and of the Earthlings and planet Earth, the interactions with aliens, galactic beings from around the universe is mixed. It is exciting. it is ascending in its vibration in the past, and this includes thousands, tens of thousands, and hundreds of thousands of years ago. There's no limit really to how far back this goes, that there have been interventions from galactic beings. And the galactic beings are attempting to influence the DNA, the futures, the current, present, and also the futures of the human race, because the human race are the key. You are the key to the ascension of this universe. And so somewhere magically encoded in your DNA are the actual key codes themselves. This is why you often talk about light codes, key codes. This beautiful DNA upgrade process, ascension that you talk about, it is all magically, and I use the term magic not as an illusion, but instead as a mystery, and this magnificence is that within your DNA, there is the unknowable, beautiful, creative force of source of this universe. And so no matter how many times different galactic races have attempted to interfere with your DNA, and they have interfered with your DNA, and they have changed your DNA continually, and they do to this day, their challenge is that miracles still happen. The impossible becomes possible. And in human form, you manipulate your DNA back to how you want it. Your ascension continues on its path no matter what. And you've seen these global interventions through mass pandemics, these mass attempts to change your DNA. And it does not matter whether you have been personally interfered with or not, because you are self-correcting, self-healing. And this causes much frustration with the galactic races that attempt to continually intervene with you. And so you could describe the past as alien interventions with the human race have been much more about trying to control and to influence the future of not just the human race, but also the entire universe. So of course, this is a playground for them. The humans are relatively naive and relatively low intelligence compared to many of the galactic beings that they face. However, the galactic beings that face humans are now realizing that it doesn't matter how many times you experiment with, alter the DNA of, go to war with, influence at high and low levels across governments and civilizations, none of it matters. And an increasing number of galactic races are realizing this, that in many respects humans are untouchable. And this goes against many of their belief systems. It is counter to so much of their technology, so much of their spiritual and physical and metaphysical understanding of the universe. For example, how when a galactic race, and this is what the gray aliens, the Zeta aliens would do, is they would abduct humans, they would alter the DNA strands, they would put the human back into life and monitor them through implants, through experiments. And some of these are at mass scale across the planet. And so many people are unconscious of this happening that every time they'd run these experiments, some would succeed, some would fail, and overall, all eventually, if the humans were living until the end of the experiments and they didn't die through natural causes, then the humans would still self-correct. They would bring themselves back to their original DNA, which is impossible. DNA is like a computer program. So to us, it is like a computer program rewriting itself. How is it intelligent? What force is governing this? And it is this mysterious force within it, this energy that is not understood by any technology or civilization yet. However, what has been discovered, and this we use the example of the gray aliens, the Zeta aliens, they are a very fascinating alien race because for for many, many centuries, they have attempted to evolve the DNA of the human race to help protect and ensure the survival of their futures, because they are both tightly coupled with and also a future timeline of the human race. And that is a dead end of a future timeline, because eventually they run out of DNA variation and variation in their gene pool and can no longer recreate or procreate. And so that's why they've been so heavily involved in trying to save themselves by working with humans and working with the consent of the souls of many humans to be able to work through DNA experimentation to see how to save themselves in the future. And through this realization, through constant experimentation, thousands and thousands of experiments, there are, as John knows, there are some of these great aliens who have gone through awakenings. And these includes the aliens that are in spaceships outside of Earth doing constant lab experiments on the DNA of the human race. And so the actual perpetrators of the effort somewhat at times against the interest of a human or the human race, even though they did have consent, there's this really surprising thing happening where, just like in John's case, this being awakens. And so it doesn't matter what role they're doing, whether they're a software manager in a big corporate company, or if they're a lab technician working on experiments on the DNA of humans, and they're not human, they're a Zeta alien. What's really beautiful is that they begin to see the mystery and the magic, the patterns, the numbers. Just like we see angel numbers as humans, we see 1111 and all the twos or all the fours or all the fives. Like there's just all these patterns that appear. That started happening to them, and so the awakening that they experience opens up their minds and their hearts to belief systems beyond the physical. And even for galactic races, not just Zeta aliens, but including Palladian, Arcturian, Mantis, Draconian, there's so many different races, and there's no limit to this. As they go through an awakening, despite any of their previously spiritual beliefs, those beliefs go through what we'd call in the tarot world like a Black Tower moment, and that they would go through this rebirthing process, like the Phoenix rebirths. And so this is what happened for the Zetas, that more and more of them started to go through their own spiritual awakenings. And as more of them did, just like it's happening here on Earth now, it didn't take many of them, and in particular, some of them they are a hierarchical and also like a blend of hierarchical and hive mind. They started to influence themselves, saying, "Look, there's a whole bigger dimension to just the physical," and their understanding of, for instance, quantum energy and quantum mechanics, quantum physics. And so this is when the Zetas realized that actually a lot of this huge amount of effort they've been wasting on kind of spinning their wheels on this rabbit hole of DNA is that the DNA is just a manifestation, one of the key manifestations of source, of this godlike force acting through all of us on the journey to ascending this universe and achieving harmony, unity, and balance again. And so it didn't matter how many times they altered the DNA of a human, the human would eventually revert back to a state either that they were previously with their DNA or to a future state that they were going to anyway. And this includes if the human was going through awakening, it alters your DNA. It puts you onto a path. It's interesting that my voice is going. It puts you onto a path where I'm just asking Maya to come back in. It puts you on, as a human, on a path where you suddenly find yourself growing exponentially, and your DNA needs to be able to cope with this. And so your DNA alters, and it is like your mind, body, soul, your spirit, all of them blend together seamlessly and work together in harmony. And so there's constant change between all three, the mind, body, and soul, the Trinity I was talking about earlier. Okay, that's really beautiful. So I'm just asking Maya to just step back a minute. I'm just going to get a coffee. Hang on a second. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to pause for a second and grab my coffee, which is just there, because Maya's information was so rich. And it was John, me, I was like, my consciousness was kind of getting more excited and more engaged, and I was pushing Maya out a little bit of me. Now, she stepped out to me just now. And I don't know, I did this with my hand. It's just like, I just was like, I'm John. Hi, I'm John. Hi, it's John. So yeah, I just want to pause Maya for a moment, I guess. Thank you, Maya. Wow, Maya. Like, Maya, you've told us about soul merging, and now there's magical aspects of DNA. That's just so incredible. Thank you. And what was bringing me back, excuse me, what was bringing me back also was the question of, well, why do some of us are scared of aliens? And so we have answers there, right? Which is that it's some of it's founded, that we have been to some extent attacked by alien races, and that you can understand why we would have fear. I mean, to be honest, we managed to fear a lot of things and be anxious about a lot of things, even without being attacked at some points. But I do want to just reiterate that with the Zeta aliens example, souls there have consented. So the incarnation of someone, like, I don't believe I've consented to being experimented on as a human. But if my soul, prior to the incarnation of me, has accepted this, then it can happen to me somewhat against my human will, but with the permission and consent of my soul. So that's a really fascinating layered approach to, or layered framework for free will. That feels like another, a whole other deep dive video. But at the core of this theme, like the even bigger thing to really focus on here, is how incredible, how mysteriously wonderful is it that our human forms, our DNA in particular, continues to evolve regardless of what's being done to it. And can you imagine how infuriating that would be if you're an adversary of humanity and you want to control humanity? It would drive you crazy, right? If you're like, it doesn't matter what I do to these humans, like, they just keep evolving, they just keep going. And I remember, I'm just being brought back to, like, Maya showing me, this is so many years ago for me now, but I could place it roughly at around 2012, plus, or between 2010 and 2012. I remember watching a video, and it's about Project Looking Glass, if there's still videos on it on YouTube. And this guy had been brought in by a military force to work with this looking glass, which was a technology that allowed you to look into future timelines. And back then, we spoke much more about the event, like, the event is going to happen, this big thing is going to happen. And of course, that event is happening. it is happening now, and it happened to me. I didn't even know what the event was, and it happened to me, just five or so years later. And it's this awakening. It's the awakening of us all. And it's not just limited to humans, right? It's every living thing. It includes the planet. And it's not just limited to Earth. It includes this whole universe. And they said in that video that I watched about Project Looking Glass is that it didn't matter how many times they looked into the future, they could not see beyond this event. And that the same sorts of things happened like over and over. It was kind of like Groundhog Day for them. Like they kept looking at it and they would see, like solar flares and like people waking up and like big world changes. But they're like, they couldn't see what happened afterwards and they couldn't influence it. And you'll see, we covered this in the last video, attempts, for, global scale things to happen. But a bit like our DNA, like, just because something happened or happens to us, we don't just heal from it, we grow from it. If you look at the way so many of us that are going through awakening experiences in our lives, it's often the trauma that awakens us. And so can you imagine the frustration? You were like, right, so I want to take over planet Earth and I want to like control all these humans. And like, great, well, we could just go around like, destroying them and making them really unhappy. Oh, hang on. If we do that, it makes them stronger. It makes them awaken. It makes them even more powerful. And it's almost like we're transmuters of energy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not inviting trauma on me or my family or anyone that's watching this or anyone in the world. But for all the trauma that we have experienced, it's always an opportunity to grow. And even if we don't, fully grow to its full potential through any trauma, it's incredible to witness. So that's fascinating. And Maya, thank you. I also just saw her, like a lot of the visuals as she was channeling through me. She was showing me like lots of spaceships like landing on Earth. When there was less humans in the world and things were less kind of public, they would just go and visit like villages and go and do experiments there. Or small tribes and settlements, and they'd often speak to like the elder or the elders of the tribe, and they'd explain. There'd be kind of a trade, right? They'd explain wisdom and knowledge and share more about the planet and what was going on in the universe. And then at the same time, the humans would share, our physical attributes, our DNA, etc. And there was less opportunity to panic a planet because we weren't globally connected, or at least not in the same way. Okay. So I also want to ask, in the remaining 17 or so minutes, I'd like to ask my guide, or I haven't actually chosen which guide it is yet. So I'd like to ask one of my guides who is a galactic guide. And obviously Maya has come from the stars and other planets in the past, but she spent thousands and thousands of years on planet Earth. And so I'm keen to ask someone that's been more recently out there as a galactic being, and or still is, or both. And I'd like to just ask one of my guides to step forwards to represent this story, this journey from the alien side, from being a galactic brother or sister. And it's a bit of a discussion because they're like, me, I want to go. Okay, so my Lyran guide, Emin Chal, who we also met last week, he's stepping forwards. He was very bold. He's like, I will step forwards, and pushing his way forwards. And he said it's because he wants to talk about the fear aspect. Like he's saying, like one of his superpowers is being able to fight darkness, like negative entities, anything that doesn't have our permission that's attached to us. And so I'd like to ask Emin Shell, could you channel through me? Emin Shell, should we just cut to the chase? And could you channel through me? and describe from your perspective why humans are scared of aliens and what they can do to tackle that fear. And just asking Em and Shell to step in just now. Thank you. Thank you. And it is with great honor that I step forwards at this time through John to speak to you. Thank you for spending your time, your energy, and joining us in this moment. And again, as Maya did, I would like to start with simplicity. The reason that there is fear in the humans at this time is because humans are experiencing both the love, light, and the darkness all blended together. They're experiencing all these different aspects from their interactions with aliens from around the universe. Humans do not know where they want to go in their own path. As a human race, you are currently on a trajectory for either ascension or self-destruction. And a planet that is on a path for self-destruction, those timelines that still exist, there are not all timelines, but some timelines still exist of Earth's destruction or rebirth. The why in that insanity of your own self-destruction would you want some other alien outside force to either help you or to destroy you when your own path, your own free will choice is to destroy yourself? And so this becomes very confused in those situations. And then there's the ascension paths. There are an increasing number of timelines. There are around now 5 timelines out of 8 timelines. 5 of these timelines are ascension paths. They are ascension timelines. They also merge in time, over time. And there are these lower vibration timelines, currently 3, that are the destruction of Earth. Not necessarily the physical disappearance of Earth, but a rebirthing of the human race and a very cataclysmic and traumatic apocalyptic experience for those that choose to be on Earth at that time. And so in these 5 higher vibration ascension timelines, each at their own different pace, and they are like frequency ranges. They run in parallel, and the frequency ranges are that when you're in the lower vibration timeline that ascends, it's slower, and then the higher vibration, highest, runs the fastest. And then over time, they all converge together. And there is convergence happening because their frequency ranges are beginning to overlap with each other. They're overlapping. What place does darkness have? What place does evil or negative thoughts for humanity or attempts to control humanity, what place does that have in the ascension timelines? And the simple answer is none. These very deep, dark methods of control and destruction do not have a place in the ascension timelines. And so they do not exist in the ascension timelines. There are lowest vibration aspects of reality within these timelines. However, they are not as low vibration as the destruction of planet Earth or the enslavement of humans. And so this is important to understand when we explain a bit more about what it's like being on the outside looking in at planet Earth. It now comes down to an individual free will choice level. So as an alien, as I look down at planet Earth, as a Lyran from Lyra, as I appear very different to humans, and humans are, we find, quite cute. They are like cubs. Our cubs are quite human-like because their faces, their facial features are cubs our children's snouts are not as large as adults, and so as humans we look much our humans look much cuter and than we feel we do as adults. And this also has an effect on how we treat humans, because humans to us look young. They look like babies to us. And humans are babies in their own ascension paths, in their own civilization development, their own spiritual journeys. But the choice of which timeline you go into is an individual level. And so when we meet with people individually, when Lyrans come to Earth, when we physically land in our ships and we approach humans, if they haven't already run away because we have lion faces and we have very cat-like features, if they haven't already run away but are intrigued by us and perhaps open to the chance of communication or interaction, we know quickly from their vibration which timeline they will be in. And to be honest, unless they're actually attacking us, it is likely that they are in one of the Ascension timelines, one of the 5 Ascension timelines. And so this is how we perceive humans as young children, but each with their own individual ability to choose their futures. And we'd like to remind you that this is not just the effect of that individual human choice is not just the effect on that one human. Each individual choice affects the entire universe. And I do not say these words lightly. It is important to know that every choice you make in every single present moment affects the entire universe. It's just that it affects it a small amount. So just as John in his daily meditation creates a bubble of love around himself, his home, his world, his solar system, his galaxy, his universe, even though his energy is small in comparison to the great forces of this universe, his energy is like a butterfly's wings. It causes small ripples, and these small ripples become larger and larger and amplify across the universe. Would it be so simple to help heal this entire universe just by doing that practice each day in meditation? Yes. Yes. You get to decide. And so we try our best as aliens, as you call us, to be connective with humans, to connect with you at your energy, connect with you in the same frequency range that you're capable of existing in. And back not very long ago, it was like we had to be drunk to be so low vibration. In fact, some of us would have to take substances to lower our vibration to be able to communicate with you. It was very, very hard for us to be in your presence and to have any kind of conversation. A bit like when you're sober and you're trying to talk to a very drunk person, that is what it was like for us to communicate with you. And this has changed over time. Now, those of you that are like John, who are able to step into these high vibrations for increasingly longer amounts of time, we find this much more exciting, and it's much easier for us to communicate. And because your central frequency, your average frequency out of your entire frequency range capability from darkness to light and everything in between is much more overlapping, increasingly overlapping with ours. And this excites us a lot because it gives us such hope and excitement that not only humans are ascending and helping this whole planet ascending, but there's hope for this whole universe because all of us are intertwined across this universe, just like those little butterfly ripple effects that we spoke about earlier, that this resonates out across the entire universe, all of these free will choices, all of these frequency ranges that are increasing. And in other videos, John has explained this, that all of the galactic races, and there are thousands of galactic races that have interfered with the DNA of humans, and only some, or an increasing number, are realizing the awakening aspect of human DNA, and that when they no longer obsess about the biology and the physics and the material world, they then focus on the energetically more spiritual aspects and focus on their own race's awakenings. And so for those galactic races that are seeking to join one of these 5 ascension timelines, because they're not just for Earth, they're for this whole universe, they realized that all those experiments they did when they interfered with humans' DNA was intertwining them, just as we spoke with Maya and Gaia's souls intertwining. They created these connections between our souls together, and those quantum entangled connections suddenly mean that just because they did an experiment, like a Zeta alien did an experiment with a human thousands of years ago, it brought together a thread between those races, between humans and that galactic race. And so there now our ascensions are intertwined. And this is why we're so interested in humans. The children of Earth are becoming the masters of Earth. And so fast. You're doing this so fast. And we want you to know that you're so loved and that you are always, always loved, guided, and supported by us. And we give you nothing but love. And this is why we show you so much adoration and give you so much support, because we're always walking this fine balance of what you can take as children of the earth and of this universe, at the same time as this incredible ability that you're continuing to develop at an ever-increasing exponential rate. This ability to ascend, to hold broader and broader frequency ranges, to connect out across the universe, to help others. And we know that all these dark forces that you have been under the control of, they're slipping, they're falling away. Those fears you're breaking through, even just this video and even just the feeling that you perhaps can feel from me as Emenshal right now, you can feel that fire, that fierceness, that roar of your love is rising. It's rising up in your heart. This is all possible. You're making the impossible possible. And it's all from within you, your heart, your love, your daily practice, how you think and feel about your fellow humans, the rest of the planet, and every other being across this universe. And we'd like to draw you back to the simple messages that we started with. Unity, we're all in this together. Every single one of us. Doesn't matter which planet we were born on. We're all intertwined in this universal ascension. And so for this, we no longer ask you to call us galactic or alien. Just talk to us as you are our brothers and sisters. You are our children, and yet you are our masters. And we are so excited for this continued journey with you. And we ask you to keep asking. Ask for our help. Ask us for help. Ask us to appear to you. Ask us in your meditation out loud. The questions are coming. You do not need to search for them on your phones or the internet. The answers are coming to you through your hearts, through your minds, through the numbers, through the signs in nature, because they are all manifestations of the energy. And they're not manipulated, unlike those that you experience through your modern technologies. So much of this is confusing and manipulated and has such chaotic energy. So we invite you to become more addicted to nature than you are your devices. And so I'm going to leave John at this time, and I want to thank you for having the space. Thank you, Emenshal. He's saying, John, do the roar. It feels like a fanboy. Okay, let's do an Emenshal roar. Thank you, Emenshal. I'll just bring through a roar from you. Thank you. Wow. I'm a bit speechless. Well, I am speechless. I can recap on my speechlessness. Before I started this video today, I wasn't like totally 100% sure what the subject would be on. And when my mind says, oh, John, you got to talk about a subject for an hour, excuse me, it makes me feel like I want to write things down. I want to write down all the questions. I want to prepare. I want like the perfect video for you. I have confidence in my channeling capability and ever growing confidence, and it's my job now. It's what I do. It's my profession, and it feels very natural and much easier for me to do. And so when I do a video like this, I don't feel like I'm alone. I feel like it's not just John here, that I bring in these beautiful beings from around the universe. And I just want to reflect on the beautiful messages of love and unity and this incredible, mysterious, miraculous journey of our DNA, our free will, of our human race. And just to reflect this back to you as a fellow human, that it's incredulous. It is so magical. It's wondrous to be on this planet at this time, in this journey with you. And that if you're watching this, that I hope that it resonates with you and you see your true power. You don't give your power away. Don't give it to the algorithms. Don't give it to the fear, this bottomless pit of fear that we can be drawn into. Take your power back. Don't rely on your algorithms, rely on your mailing lists for, your connections with friends, your social networks, your physical networks. Rely on the things that are clean and pure to you, and allow your energy to continue to awaken. If you're watching this, you probably are awakened, or you're wondering what on earth this crazy guy called John's been going on about for the last hour. But it is just such a magical experience to share with you. And so thank you. And I'd like to close down this space. As we set up a safe space, I'd like to close it down. So thank you to our guides, our higher selves, our angels, Source and Gaia, and every soul that's participated in today's session. And I'd just like to close the energy of the session and just ask all of us to step out of it. Archangel Michael, please return to Source. Thank you. And if you watch this and you've become anything like as excited and as connected as I have, take a moment afterwards to ground. I've got my, I don't know if you want to see my feet, but you imagine just my feet here, bare feet out on the grass to ground, drink plenty of water and be human. Like just keep doing the human things and following the passions that you love. And finally, if you have any questions, if you have any topics you'd like to me to cover, please let me know for these Sunday sessions. In other news, I have clinical and also psychic reflexology sessions coming up next week in the Edinburgh and the Lothians area. If that resonates with you, I have the Higherself foundational training starts in a couple of weeks on the 8th of July for 8 weeks, teaching all these magical things. And then I also have the new spirit guide meditations, which are 5 days challenge for practitioners. So like a lot of things I did at the beginning, the safe space at the start, safe space at the end, like I wanted to give that for free to the world so that people would learn like to develop their own best practices. And I hope that by repeating mine, it'll help you, inspire you to develop your own. And finally, on Thursday, there will be the Quantum Energy Healing, Clearing and Reading live stream on YouTube. So lots going on. Keep up to date. Also sign up for my newsletter, and then I'll tell you all this great news all the time. There's so much going on. And yeah, really excited to share with you, share more with you. And yeah, if you have any questions, please do reach out. Thank you so much. Sending my love from Scotland. I love you.